What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, today you're in for a treat. We have an original OG on the channel today, introducing SerpentX, also known to a lot of you guys as Vega. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. Keep grinding and stacking them stats as I always do.
I like the hat, by the way. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Been working on it with Doge Lord, Chris Anderson.
Yep.
And very nice to have his support in getting, some merch out there, which is where you can go get some. By the way, you got to try out their coffee. I've been loving that 6-bean blend. Really good blend of coffee, and you should grab some while you can.
I have not tried it yet, but I definitely am interested in it. I actually recommended when he was looking for names for it. I had given them the name Hashrate Heaven. Was the one blend that, and I think he ended up using it for like a breakfast blend. But anyways, so if you guys aren't familiar with the Meet the Miner series, I started this about 6 months back, and every so many weeks I have on a YouTube personality, miner, some influencer within the scene that I would love to introduce you guys to. And this week, it's a pleasure to hang out here with SerpentX. So we're going to go through, ask some questions to kind of introduce you guys to him, and also to kind of pull out some of those treasures that a lot of these guys hold on to. So you ready to dive in?
Yeah, definitely. But before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe, my boy Hobbyist Miner, please.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and dive in. What I like to do is kind of build a little bit of foundation, kind of allow people to learn about you. So where exactly did the SerpentX Tech YouTube name come from? What's the story behind the name?
So the name itself is derived from the Gundam series, which is an anime, Gundam Wing. It's a bunch of mechs, not serpent as in the snake, but Serpent X is the actual name of the Gundam, and that name kind of stuck with me through most of my gaming and I guess you could say gray web activities, because I didn't want to, obviously when you're in those areas of the world, you don't want to provide any personal information. So SerpentX is my name online, on games, on a lot of platforms. So that name kind of stuck with me. Now, originally, just to kind of give a little bit more history, so it was SerpentX SF, which stands for SerpentX Special Forces, which is actually a group of my friends.
Okay.
We were all ex-Special Forces. And so we just kept the name, but the tech name was really a two-part thing. One, to honor my military veterans, because I know some of them feel odd about, people using that name, and also to honor them, as well as, SerpentX Special Forces doesn't say what my channel is. SerpentX Tech does. So I wanted to kind of change that, not only to respect my military brothers, but and sisters, but to kind of define what the channel itself is.
Very cool. Yeah, I was really curious on your background there with the military. I mean, based off of watching some of your videos and your live streams, you could definitely tell there was that military background. So thank you very much for serving. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
So jumping in here, this is definitely a loaded question. I like to do my research on the people that I have on the show. And it looks like your channel started all the way back, your YouTube channel, in 2012 as a gaming YouTube channel. And you kind of sprinkled some gaming videos over those first, few years. So tell us about being a content creator overall for a 10-year period. I mean, that's a significant amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, some of the videos that I've made way back when are not active anymore or private. But what happened realistically is in 2012, I started the channel because YouTube was gaining more popularity. The social platform was gaining more popularity, and I wanted to do videos and how-tos. And it wasn't just gaming too. If you look back on my channel, I think I still have some automotive content in there. And the reason I did it, and the whole purpose of my channel is still to today, is I just want to help others out there. Regardless if I get 1 view, thousands of views, 100,000 views, if I can help somebody save money, or because this video or conversation or topic hasn't been covered by anybody else, if my video can enlighten somebody or help somebody, I honestly see that as job done. And realistically, I would take out my phone, which is why I had poor quality, or I would use an old webcam, again, poor quality. But I would film myself in that scenario and show people what I did to fix the problem, or what I did, or what experience I had, because that's, especially now in mining, a lot of people are experiencing the same thing, which is why I love the mining community, is we're all sharing data. This is what I got. This is what happened to me. What did you get? All right, you got the same issue. What did you try? And then, go back and forth. But originally in 2012, because the cameras weren't that great, we just used our cell phones, used the old school ball webcam, if anybody knows.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah. So we just used those, recorded whatever we needed to, and put it up there. The scene was growing, and I was actually one of Linus Tech Tips subscribers, as you can see with the shirt at home.
Legit.
And I remember his quality of videos too. His quality was better than mine, but I could see all of us as we grew get better. But much of the videos from way back when, unfortunately, I took off because of how poor quality or poor audio. I even recorded a video where it's just a camera and no audio. So I was messing up back then, but it was trial and error.
Yeah, absolutely.
As I went along. Yeah,
there's no, even today, there's no absolute guidebook for YouTube. Like, it is very much learn as you go, the Wild West. I mean, the YouTube algorithm is a blessing and a curse sometimes. But yeah, it's very cool. Like, I love going back and looking at people's YouTube channels and just kind of seeing, where they were and where they are now. And
I mean, I'm still a big gamer.
That's awesome.
Some of the content you probably saw was Diablo. So WoW, World of Warcraft, I was into that big. Diablo, some of the earlier Battlefields, Counter-Strike. That's again where the SerpentX SF comes from, is our group.
Your clan, right? Your clan. Yeah,
clan.
I hear you.
Do Team Fortress or Counter-Strike, and I've been playing since 1.3, 1.6, something like that. But I don't play as much as I used to. But that's how the channel started. Then it turned into, oh, hey, I got this problem with my Saturn. Let me show you how I did it. And then turned into, well, I like computers. I work with computers. I have issues with computers. Why not show people what I'm doing?
Yeah, man, you're a man after my heart. You talk about CS Counter-Strike there. I started playing in 1.5. I remember playing that. It was probably middle
school. Bunny shot.
It was probably middle school for me. I'm in my mid 30s, so it's probably about middle school that I started playing then. Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about like the mining content community, and it's very unique where, like, if you look at everybody's channels that are in that space, everyone's like kind of sharing like how they fix this or how they set up this and things like that. And that's how I got started. I mean, I've only been in the scene since February, not even a year, but that's really how I started. It was like, I'm a new guy. I know nothing. If I can, and I even say this in a lot of my videos, and maybe I just didn't even realize I took it from you, even, was the fact of, with watching your content, was the fact of a lot of the times I even mentioned, if one person has valued from this video, like, I'm happy, like, I've done my job. And so that's why a lot of my content is not just like a point and click and showing like, hey, here's my rig, and it's more of a, this is how you set up HIVEOS, and this is how you do, so it's really funny how you say that, because now that I look at like everyone's content across the board, it's very similar. Most of it is how-tos at the end of the day.
Right. And I have a really long-winded response sometimes, and I learned that, and I'm still trying to perfect it. But, even if my long-winded response, because my goal is to take technical terms that the average user may not understand and turn it into non-technical language that they can understand. But sometimes that turns a video that should be, 3 minutes theoretically to 7 minutes, or 10 minutes into 15 minutes. But again, as you said, as long as the individual understands, and I get all the time, thank you so much. Your video helped me out. One of my biggest videos, believe it or not, are not mining related. The NiceHash guide is one of my biggest videos, but the next one is Apple laptops, right? Instead of my uncle getting charged $300 to $500 just to repair his Apple MacBook, I showed everybody 8 screws, take it off. Here's where your monitor connects, or your screen. Unplug it, plug it back in, boot up, you'll hear the Apple tone, and his screen worked. And that's all it was. The screen was with the Apple tone will come on, but there would be no display out. So just turn it off, flip it over, take the screws off, disconnect the monitor, plug it back in, and it worked. It saved him $300 to $500 using an Apple certified technician. And I got a lot of people who had that same issue, thank me in the comments, and I saved them money. And then the other one is my wife's car, the Dodge Journey. You know, something as simple as the radio didn't work on a long trip to Indiana. Guess what? Unplug the fuse, wait a little bit, plug the fuse back in. Radio's now reset. You can switch to your channel for SiriusXM, send your refresh signal, and you're good to go. I got a lot of people hit me up about that. So it's not always relevant to the tech/mining culture, but if I bump into it and I see nobody's covered it, I just throw it out there just to try to help anybody, if at all possible.
That's awesome. That's such a cool mentality. It seems like you've carried that over into your mining content. You know, a lot of the times if people go check out his channel, and I'll have all his links and everything down below, you'll notice that a lot of those videos are kind of those helpful how-to videos, which is great. I know you have an entire series that you've started more recently on, you know, how to get into mining and all that stuff, which is great. So taking a look back, I tried to find your oldest mining video. That was my goal. Like, what could I find that is the oldest mining video on your channel? So it's 4 years old, which shows your legitimacy of being in the scene for quite some time, just because cryptocurrency is so young. And it was Will mining on a PCIe X16 1.1 to 2.0 hurt your hash rate. So that was about 4 years ago. Was that time period with that video when you were first introduced to mining? Or was this just the first time you decided to point a camera at what you were doing?
No, yeah, this was the first time I decided to actually attempt at it. And honestly, believe it or not, I got to give a shout out to Steve from Gamers Nexus, because
great channel.
In discussion with him, it basically was, well, go for it. Like, because I was just like those videos I mentioned that I've taken down or I made private because of the quality and stuff like that. I kind of got discouraged from making content. And so in talking with him, he just, you know, kind of coaxed me into just make the content, just go for it, try it out. Obviously, Steve, at that time, their channel was a lot smaller, but that's really what prompted me to continue to make content. And then this video, I seen that question pop up a lot. So again, going back to seeing something that not a lot of people talked about, but everybody's asking, I saw that conversation. I decided to throw a video out there to try to answer or address that concern or question.
Interesting.
It's definitely, so when I entered, let's go back to when I entered. When I entered the mining scene was, oh my goodness. So I was young, dumb, and at my parents' house, I had an Acer computer. I was upgrading components in it. Oh, how old? I can't remember how old I was, but I can say that you and I are probably in the same generation.
Yeah.
And basically, I would say late 2012, early 2013 is when I started dabbling in it. Not hardcore, but just dabbling in it, you know, looking at various things, looking on forums, asking questions. Because just like the gaming community back then, everything was on forums of some type, not some major website.
Before Discord or any of these types of application-based community platforms.
We had Ventrilo. We had, what was
TeamSpeak?
TeamSpeak.
Yep.
We're going back.
I know.
AIM was a big thing. AOL AIM. That's where I picked up all the girls. Sorry.
I was ICQ. You know, ICQ before AIM. You know. Right. That's crazy.
But that's, you know, that's how I got in. I just basically bumped into it. We were at a LAN party, actually. We were at a LAN party. We were LANing.
I still do LAN parties at my age. Every quarter I go at my so quick story, the guys I went to college with, now years later, about 4 times a year we get together. Now it looks totally different than, you know, college age where you're just drinking, having a good time playing video games. You know, that's when I first got introduced to WoW. Now it is a group of guys, the same guys, about 12 to 15 guys, all dads, you know, all married, and we get together every 3 months. It's literally a guys' weekend. It is eat fat kid food, no kids, no wife, watch movies, and play video games, and have a few beers and cook out in some guy's grill. And we rotate whose house it is. And it is something we've done for 12 years. We've done it every 3 months, and it is so much fun. So I'm so happy to hear another guy being like, "Oh yeah, LAN parties." I'm like, yes, LAN parties.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a thing, and it's nice. You know, everybody. That's the problem. And not to get on a rant here, but that's the problem I think in today's day and age is everybody wants to do everything online. We got the metaverse coming out, everybody's hyping that up, but there's something about the physical experience, being there with your friends, your comrades, your partners, and having that experience together physically on site is just so much better. Yeah, we can land and we can run a raid or a dungeon together right now, where you are, where I'm at. But once we start getting together, it starts getting a little bit crazy. We start having a good time. But I love that. I love that atmosphere. But that's how I bumped into it. So I was at a LAN party.
Okay.
Some discussion was going on. We were playing Counter-Strike at that time. And so when I got my system home, because we all brought our systems to our LAN party, which I'm sure you do now as well. When I got home, I was kind of configured. My buddies helped me out, kind of showed me it. And we'll probably talk a little bit about that. But it was my introduction in late 2012, 2013, where I started dabbling in crypto, but I didn't start making content about crypto because it was something that I honestly then probably didn't think it was going to go as far as it is today. I'm happy it did, but
definitely
at that time, not so much.
Yeah, you definitely came in quite some time before me. I mean, February when I started content creation is pretty much when I started, I would say, more legitimately mining. I dabbled about 5 years ago. Maybe it was about 5 years ago with a terrible product called MinerGate.
Oh my God.
And at first it seemed pretty good, but now it's terrible. But yeah, I mean, I remember I ended up buying up a bunch of HP towers that I found like on, I think it was Craigslist then, and and I had about 20 to 30 of them in a rack and just had them mining off of CPU mining. Did it for a while, and then, I mean, it was kind of interesting, like going back years later, looking at my wallet. I guess it was really my account on their site. I mean, I had some Ethereum on there. I was like, heck yeah, it took me 6 months to get it transferred off, but I had a whole bunch of projects that are dead now, and so that's very cool to hear, like, your time that far, you starting so far back, which is, I think, great. So moving on from there. You got introduced into mining. Some buddies at a LAN party had kind of introduced you to it, and you had it on your computer. So tell us about that journey a little bit, going from my buddy set me up on my computer to configuration to today. That journey, it's definitely accelerated over the last 4 years.
Oh yeah. You got to think back then. One, there wasn't that many pools. There wasn't. You got to think, and if you actually look at the history of 2012, 2013, 2012, maybe towards the beginning to the, like right before the end, you could mine Bitcoin with off-the-shelf hardware. But as it started to progress into 2013, Bitcoin mining was not becoming viable anymore. And you could see, and by the way, this leads into right now where everybody's upset about the GPU shortage.
Yep.
GPU and hardware shortages has been going on through bull markets throughout crypto's life this entire time. 2013, everybody was trying to mine Litecoin, and so all the GPUs were getting snatched up because Bitcoin mining was becoming so hard that it was just basically the ASICs took over. And that journey, that I think this is probably going to answer one of your questions later on.
Go for it.
Is trying to stay ahead of the curve, right? Because this new coin comes out. You can mine it with off-the-shelf hardware, but then later on down the road, a few months later, 6 months, a year later, now ASICs are the most efficient at mining, and more ASICs come online, and more ASICs come online, and then your GPU or hardware is no longer able to mine.
Yeah.
But if we went back in that time, I'm trying to think what I had. So I had an Acer desktop. I'm working a POS job. I'm going to school. I'm at my parents' house. I got this computer. My buddy set me up, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the miner then was BFG Miner. I think that's what it is. There was another one too that
and that was just like a batch file or something at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was basically an open source miner that they just developed, and I mean, we were hanging out on 4chan, which has good and bad in it. I don't hang out as much as I used to. But the best thing to do back then was to mine Litecoin and then convert it to Bitcoin at some type of exchange. And that's another problem. Not too many exchanges are available. But a lot of the WoW heads who were also into Magic the Gathering were already on Mount Gox before it became just a crypto trading platform. So a lot of those people are able to transition quite easily. Okay, cool. We're just, instead of just being a
Yep.
online Magic the Gathering site, we can trade our crypto. So convert Litecoin to Bitcoin and stack as much sats as possible. But Litecoin mining is what it was when I started mining. BFG miner, there was another miner, I can't remember the name, and there was this big situation between Bitcoin mining. When I first got into it, I had one Acer computer and another computer that I built or kind of Frankenstein together. And basically, Fermi GPUs, so NVIDIA GPUs, the GTX 600 series, versus AMD cards on Bitcoin. AMD, or previously called ATI in 2006,
Yeah, that's
would
right.
blow NVIDIA out the water. But when it came to Litecoin mining, that gap difference between the hardware was lowered. So your NVIDIA GPUs could actually perform quite well mining Litecoin. Obviously, we can't mine Litecoin now.
Yeah.
But if I were to give you my hardware setup, it was basically HD 7870, so that's an AMD card. I still have my GTX 660. My son is actually using it in the next room right now on the computer over there. We're talking motherboards that were like LGA 775.
Man, going back.
Right. You know what? My buddy, my good friend of mine that I went to LAN parties with, is still rocking my Z77 ASRock motherboard with a Intel 2500K. And that's really one of my OG setups, and it's still running perfectly. It's running flawless. I told him, if you ever want to upgrade, I want this hardware back.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find my HD 7000 ATI card, but I got cards like this, which is an old ATI graphics card.
Yep.
This one as well. Like, this is just stuff that
it's crazy. It's like, it makes me reminisce on then. I was not into mining at all. It was all gaming, but it's like, this is what the tech looked like.
Right. And you got to look at the difference. So the green is obviously, wait, which way am I going? So the green is NVIDIA.
Yep.
Red is AMD, but look at the slot difference. So one is AGP,
yeah,
one is PCI.
Yep.
And so you learn all that by tinkering, and that's really what got me interested into mining, is tinkering with this hardware, getting the best mega hash or kilo hash at that time. This is a GTX 550 Ti.
I'm loving this museum right here. This is awesome.
Bro,
this is awesome.
Look at this.
Oh no. Oh my word. Remember the coolers like that? Oh my gosh. Look at that. That is phenomenal.
So it's the old AMD Phenom 9950 Black Edition.
Got to keep that
on an Asus motherboard. Like back when Crossfire was actually relevant.
Yeah.
Crossfire or SLI. But yeah, the hardware then was absolutely breathtaking to me. And to grow up, and I believe you can probably vouch for this, to grow up with the technology as we have done during our generation has been just awesome. Like, we're hardware guys.
Yeah.
We love hardware. Just to watch it progress over time. I remember when 16 megabyte memory cards off of PlayStation was like the new hotness.
Yep.
And now look at us. Look how much we've grown.
Oh, I know. It's nuts. I have a thumb drive, my first thumb drive that I got in college, and it's 16 megabytes. And it's like, what? I keep it. It still works. It's nutty though, because a lot of the tech you were talking about there, like, isn't it interesting how tech years ago, the longevity is so much better than the tech today? Like, the quality of the product years ago, like, those are all great examples. A lot of the stuff that you had there probably still works, just like you had said that your son's still playing on it and your friend of yours is still playing on it. It's just nutty to think that. So, taking a look on your channel at some of your videos, there's one that caught my eye from 3 years ago, and I'd love to hear just a little bit more about that time period. And it was 3 years ago, and the title of that video was, "Why Do I Continue to Mine, Damn It?" So what struggles do you remember from 3 years ago that, because a majority of the crypto mining audience has entered the scene in the last 12 months. The cryptocurrency has popped. So prior to that, I didn't experience this. I just get it from hearsay. So what was going on then, or what was the struggle 3 years ago that you recall?
So similar to what I've been doing since I first entered, trying to stay ahead of the curve, new coins coming out, them being profitable to mine on this GPU or that GPU. You know, you do good for a few months, and then some new ASIC is developed, or some new program was developed for an FPGA, so now they can mine it, and then the pool gets saturated with ASICs and FPGAs, making it unprofitable for you and having to jump. You know, from a lot of the issues I experienced, honestly, was pools. They were bad. Either the pools would go down, they weren't enough hash rate to actually find a block, or, you know, this was during a bear market. 3 years ago, I'm pretty sure it was the bear market.
Yep.
And so my wife turns and looks at me, and I think I talked about it in the video. And she's like, "Why are you doing this? I'm mining at a negative, right? I'm paying more for electricity to mine right now. Why are you doing this?"
I can only imagine.
And I turned to her, I was like, the difference between cryptocurrency and stocks, traditional stocks, is if I go to a stockbroker and I get so many stocks of Tesla or whatever, if Tesla goes to zero, even on the way down, those brokers are going to take their part of their commission. They're going to take their cut no matter what. So I'm going to be losing money. I may have that stock, but once that stock goes to zero, guess what? That stock's gone. I get liquidated, I'm done. Even if some cryptocurrency that I'm hodling goes to zero, I still have it in my wallet.
Just in case.
There's always a chance that it can pop off or get back to where it was, or, you know, get higher than what it was, and then we're in the profit again. So some of the projects I was mining then, and just as you mentioned earlier, don't even exist now. But most of the projects that I've been involved in are still around and are doing pretty good. And I see some promising things from those projects. So I just basically told my wife that I'm going to mine whether it's a bull market or bear market or moving sideways, it does not matter, because I believe in the implementation of blockchain, the benefit it has for the world, and the benefits that cryptocurrency, especially some of the newer ones, and all the tangible benefits. That's what I look for in crypto, is what are the tangible benefits, the real world use cases, stuff like that. You know, anybody can just create a new coin, SerpentX coin, but what does it do for the people? What does it do for the general populace, you know, the average person? That's what I'm really looking for in crypto. But at that time, you know, I was getting kind of weak. I was in a weak moment. I was questioning myself.
Sure,
my wife
absolutely.
questioned me, and I was just, you know what? I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep mining.
No, that's great. I definitely support and agree with and align with a lot of things you had mentioned there. Even though I'm super young, I'm a baby to the scene compared to someone like yourself and some of the others there. But I think when it comes to some of the projects and such, I can agree with you. There's a lot of those coins out there that I get interested in because the projects behind them, versus just hey, another coin's popped up. You know, that's kind of the latest fad right now. There's like another coin every other day, it seems like, and they come and go. You know, Ravencoin Lite's a very well-known one that kind of came and went over the last few months. So I could totally understand. So you talked a little bit about your lows there. So over the years, what's been your high? So tell me a little bit about, you know, like if you're thinking back to crypto mining, what's that story? You know, what's that fish story that you tell people where it's like, it was this big, you know? Do you have one that stands out where you're like, I did big here, like this was a good move for me or for my family, or cashing out here was a great moment, or are you still waiting for that?
So I have the fish that got away. I think I told the story once, and then I have the fish that did well. So the fish that did well was actually Litecoin.
Okay.
On the original 2017 run up, you got to think I was mining Litecoin since way back when, that I was able to cash out that position, and I actually moved it into a different portfolios, right? So we got a little bit. I cashed out to fiat so that way I can pay bills, pay down debt, stuff like that. Which you should always take profits. I understand the HODL game, but and I respect it. But if you can take profits and make your family's life easier, have some debts you need to pay down, take care of your bills first. So I took care of that, and then I put the rest in a mix of, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum,
smart,
EOS,
diversifying,
which I regret, and a few other coins out there. But that was the big fish moment. Is Litecoin, you know, getting into the $200-300 range, and I think it's still in the $200 range, maybe under now. But that was back when it first did it. Is when I, you know, took some profits, reallocated some of those profits into different cryptos, and then used some of it to pay the bills. But the one that got away is really the one that hurts the most. I I used to live in New York. I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
Before I came down to Florida, and there was this moment of weakness that happened to coincide with all the FUD and all the situation happening in 2013, 2014. And that is what happened with Silk Road. With the crypto that I would mine at the time, the concern was anybody in that crypto world, right?
Mhm.
Bitcoin or otherwise, doing transactions, and you couldn't, there wasn't a marketplace you could just go buy and sell. Silk Road was that marketplace, but it was a nefarious marketplace with some good aspects in it. You could buy other stuff. It wasn't just drugs, guns, and whatever. It was some actual stuff that you can trade people. I could buy, say a Avalon ASIC from somebody in Europe or whatever by sending Bitcoin. I didn't have to use that marketplace. I could just talk to people on forums, 4chan, whatever it may be. So what I'm leading to here is when Silk Road got busted, Mount Gox got busted, and it was kind of like the FBI is circling in on anybody who participated in crypto, which wasn't happening at all. That was the FUD that was spreading around. But FBI wasn't going after everybody who did transactions. It was just those big marketplaces that were doing nefarious or things that you shouldn't do. And I wanted to get rid of what Bitcoin I had. So I did. So in New York City,
Okay.
off of Bronx River Avenue by the train tracks, if somebody hasn't found it yet, which I'm sure it has been because those railroad tracks are have to be inspected and stuff like that. There was a USB drive that I had some Bitcoin on that I threw because I flew up there to go see my family, hung out.
Okay.
The situation was getting worse, and then the FUD was getting worse, and then I threw it back there like an idiot. So, anyways, it's only, I say only, but what's 300 Bitcoin times right now?
Oh my gosh. Let's see here. I'm gonna check it out right now.
What's 300?
Well, I'm just gonna base it off of I don't know what it's at right now. I'm gonna say 62. I don't know what it's at. If we do 300 times 62,000. 18,600,000. That's just life-changing in time. When they talk about hey, if it's life-changing money, it is a thing. It's like this is one of those, and it's so funny. So to take away from the pain that you're feeling right now, not that I have a story to relate. I'm sorry, I don't. But it's interesting. So a lot of you dropped a lot of some OG names in there. And it's funny, I have started listening to it. I love podcasts. I started listening to a podcast called Business Wars, and they're going through the history of Bitcoin. And there's a lot of things that even me as a miner and a cryptocurrency content creator didn't know a lot of these things. And a great example is Silk Road. That name, kind of stands out. It's so funny. I'm listening to it now, learning kind of where that started, how it started from. And this guy wanted to sell drugs online and create an online platform. Kudos to him. But he needed a currency that could be supported on there. And there was. Bitcoin was perfect. And it's so funny hearing about, just learning about a lot of this stuff. So I'd recommend, as a new miner like myself, who has stepped in the scene in the last year, go back and try to learn some of the history of crypto, because there's a lot of really good things out there. And you're talking about so much stuff that's I didn't know about that, or I didn't realize that. So it's so cool to hear that from someone like yourself, which is, I think, great. But 18 million, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Look, it was a moment of weakness.
That's a low. That's a low.
I tell you what, that 70s show had an episode where they were talking about Bitcoin, and they were looking for Sheldon's laptop or one of them's laptop. Okay. And that show came on, and my wife looked at me, and she's just like,
I hate you.
So that's quite a significant fish considering where Bitcoin is now. But again, you got to think back then it wasn't as big. Yep. And I think actually at that time when I threw the USB over the fence and towards the railroad track.
Alrighty, so let's jump ahead. We've talked a lot about the past. I mean, we literally could write a book about it at this point. So let's jump ahead. So we're in 2021 now. What does crypto mining look like? We talked a lot about, your tech and your hardware back then 2012, 2013 time period. You know, what does your farm look like today in 2021? You know, what operating systems and software? You know, you talked a lot about the software you're using then. What are you using now? What are you mining? Kind of give us the roster, give us the rundown.
All right, so we got AMD GPUs primarily made up of RX 5700s. I upgraded my 480s, 580s, 590s. I still have one RX 590, but I have an AMD mixed rig. Specs are 5 RX 5700s XTs or modded to be XTs. You know, the AMD BIOS mod.
Yep.
RX XFX RX 590, the RX 6800, and the RX 6600 XT. So that's 9 GPUs on the AMD side, I believe. So basically RX 5700, one 590 floating around, and 6800 and a 6600. That's the AMD system. Sitting on top of the NVIDIA system, which is two 1660 Supers, one 1660 Ti, Pascal 10 series. So we got 1080 Ti. We got the RTX 2080. Don't buy that GPU for mining. We got the 3080. We got the 3060. We got the 3070. Both of those are non-LHR, but then I have two 3070 LHR and two other 3060s LHR, and then another 3070 Founders Edition, which is non-LHR.
Wow.
With that system, that's a total of 14 GPUs on NVIDIA and 9 on AMD, running HIVEOS. But I do have, on each system, they have their own SSD, the ADATA SU635, what I always talk about in my cost to build a mining rig series. Those SSDs, 240 gigs, perfectly capable. You can have plenty of virtual memory. I have dual boot off of that. So I run Hive off the USB, and then I dual boot on Windows on that. The reason why I want to dual boot is because I might bump into issues with Hive, like maybe an upgrade fails or driver fails or whatever happened.
That never happens. Don't know what you're talking about.
I like redundancy. Honestly,
that's smart.
Like
Smart.
If you came over to my house, you would see so much redundancy. It's ridiculous.
I
have a backup of a backup of a backup. But that's just the way I like to do things, especially because, you know, a lot of data in my life is very important to me. You know, it might be my college education, paperwork, CBT nuggets for learning courses, A+, Security Plus, whatever. I got all that. Pictures of my daughter, pictures of my family, all that. I want to keep it safe, so I'm very redundant. But going back to the mining rig, HIVEOS 24/7. But when I do mining related content, I do most of it in Windows. If you notice that about my channel, it's mostly in Windows, and that's because I bumped into the average user who is 9 times out of 10 using Windows. But I might do a little bit more HIVEOS content. I really left that to my brother Savage Mine. Because he did a really good job of doing mining content related to Hive, and he really does have great content. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out, Savage Mine. But that's what my rigs are. In my main system, the one that we're sitting on right now, we got a 3080 LHR. It's the EVGA one. And then Ryzen 5900X, 32 gigabytes of crucial DDR4, 4400 megahertz. You know, good motherboard, X570, decent VRMs. I'm an overclocker, so I want to make sure my motherboard has good VRMs and good sustainability. But that's my basic setup. And then I got obviously a bunch of other accessories to help out, and then all the hardware you saw, which is just all of everything that I've done so far has been collected over time. Like that's why I have an NVIDIA mixed rig and an AMD mixed rig. But I just love hardware. Yeah,
it's great. You're a man after my heart. I heard the RX 590. I actually picked up one of those a few months back. It's the XFX Fat Boy is the one that I have, and love that one. It is, I have a whole rig that's all XFX right now. 580s with one 590 in it, and fantastic card.
Really good card. Really good card. XFX in general has made some good GPUs. They messed up on the XFX stick RX 5700 XT, but when Steve from Gamers Nexus called them out, because all that embezzling and all that fancy stuff around it was hampering airflow, they took it out. And so that's why it's open down the middle and it doesn't have all that stuff in front of it. All that chrome, whatever plastic they had, they took that all out to improve airflow. Yeah,
it was interesting. So like, you know, I started out with my first 6 gig was 470s, 4 gig, and that's something like I focus mostly on 4 gig. As I've grown as a content creator, I've grown into more of your 6 and 8 gig cards. But yeah, I started out with the 470s, moved into some 570s, and the 580s was really interesting when I was searching, because 99% of the stuff I have is secondhand. I very rarely buy new unless it's like I want a new egg shuffle, or you know, someone is selling it brand new. It's like, sure, you know, or I find an amazing deal. It's very hard for me to swallow scalper prices, but
Right.
when I was looking for 580s and I wanted to get into the 580s, and I've collected them over the last 6 months, 7 months, you know, one here and there when I could afford it. The XFX were always available. Like, those were easily to come by. So yeah, I really like those cards, and I've started to dabble into the 1660s and the 1660 Ti's and stuff. So that is, it's really awesome to hear. So are you mostly mining Ethereum, or what's kind of your wallet layout right now of active mining?
So right now, hash rate, I'm at a little bit over a giga hash, mining Ethereum primarily, only because I want to stack as much before proof of stake, the switch in the chain. But I often switch between my coins are Ethereum, Ravencoin, Flux. Those are my top 3, and I've been supporting Firo only because they like to support miners. Any projects that support miners, I accept it. I love it. I appreciate it. It may not be as profitable as mining Ethereum, but I still mine it nonetheless because the project itself has, in my opinion, good fundamentals. But those are my coins. So Ethereum, Ravencoin, Flux, Firo. Every now and then I tried out Firo and tested it out when the fork happened.
Yep.
But yeah, those are my coins. As far as my portfolio, I done a video on that. If you guys want to check out my channel, what my portfolio was, but that's outdated as of now. I just like to keep my eggs in different baskets. I don't like to put it all in one.
Smart, man.
Just to kind of spread that out.
No, I think it's very smart, especially after, you know, whenever it is, you know, Ethereum goes to proof of stake, you know, I think that's definitely a smart move, you know, because nobody knows where things are going to shift. So following along with these projects, I mean, a lot of these coins that have a boatload of projects behind them look a little more attractive. They're a little more stable, you know, they can stand on their own. That being said, you know, talking a little bit about, you know, Ethereum going to proof of stake, possibly in 2022. We'll see if it gets delayed some more. This is all, you know, theorizing and hypothetical, but what do you think the mining landscape looks like the day after, you know, Ethereum shifts over? Hypothetical.
Yeah, that is a very good question. A question actually I believe you and myself and many in the crypto space get asked.
Yep.
Is I had Flux. I'm rooting for Flux. I really am. The mining of Flux, I'm hoping will take that lead, that number 1 spot.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Ravencoin's gonna get a decent percentage of the hash rate dedicated to it. That, you know, whatever's lost from Ethereum, obviously that hash rate has 2 things. Either it's going to go offline because the individual or farms are selling that hardware, or it switches to a different pool. And I'm thinking Ravencoin, Flux, but we can't discount the other ETH tokens just yet, because a lot of those farms are probably tuned, even if they're GPUs, they're probably tuned to mine an ETH or Dagger token. So they might switch to some other token. Metaverse has been getting traction because of all the metaverse talk. Yeah. But I really think Flux, Ravencoin for us GPU miners, maybe a little bit into Firo, but Kryptonite GPU algo type coins, so like Conceal, Equilibra are doing really good. Ryo, I've been playing around with Ryo for a while. I've been a community member of Ryo for a while. But the one that's not really getting the attention I think it deserves is Ergo. Yeah. And I think Ergo, especially with the most recent release of the DEX, is going to do some great things. They got a great team.
It took off quick. I mean, a young coin out there to cross over the 20 mark in such a short time is like unheard of. Like, it's insane. Like, I'm new, as I keep telling people, I haven't even been in the scene for a year, but seeing Ergo grow that quickly and now it's stabilized, like it's not just like, hey, it was there for a week. That's where it's staying. So no, I totally agree.
And they're making some good moves. So what I like to look at in projects is the team behind it. So devs, not just the devs and the engineers working on the project, but the marketing specialist or CEO or CTO or CFO, whatever it is, and they just recently acquired somebody from IOHK. I can't remember his name, but those type of moves where they're getting people from good projects. And IOHK is not a product that miners mess with, but obviously that's Charles Hoskinson's baby, and he's done Cardano and some other promising things. So I think that Ergo's really making some good moves lately. We'll see how it goes, but I think that's going to get a lot of the hash rate. Specifically, I mean, how is AMD doing with Ergo? Because primarily Ergo to me is doing very well on NVIDIA, not so well on AMD, or do I have that backwards?
No, it's a little backwards there. And what I mean by that is, AMD. It's done really well on AMD. I mean, I got some 570s that are doing well on them. I mean, my 570s are up there. They're 4 gig. They're up there 60 to 70 mega hash. So they're doing pretty good on Ergo, which is nice. Ergo is definitely one of those ones where it got a ton of attention, and now it's been quiet for a while. With just like the activity in the news. But the nice thing is, so if we think about, POS comes and all of a sudden people want to switch, the unfortunately Ravencoin is it's going to be a little unattractive to some of these bigger farms because of the heat, because of it's like, holy cow, we can't handle that swap. Like we can't deal with that, because it is like, you talk to smaller miners and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. So that's the only thing, is like Ravencoin might be only for those elitists at that point. But then when you look out there, it's like, okay, what else is out there that's efficient? And as you had said, on the ETH hash with ETC, like something like ETC, it may rekindle that a little bit more, because everybody's built for that right now. Like that's a quick switch, and it's still profitable. It's not worth pennies. I think last I looked, it was like $54 or something like that. But then to talk about Ergo's a great example. You have something that everything and its brother can mine on. It's efficient and isn't power hungry. It's like, oh, you're kind of like ETH 2.0, or ETH Junior,
And you're looking really good. Honestly, I think I saw in the question, is it ETH 2.0? I don't think it's ETH 2.0. I think it's Ergo, and I think it's going to do good on its own. Yep. Because a lot of these coins come out these days, Shiba Inu, like we want to be the Doge killer. Don't come out the gates saying that you want to kill that coin or that coin. Be your own unique asset, your own unique environment, your own unique DEX or whatever. But Ergo is looking very promising. And going back to what you said, farms, if anybody watching, if I could put it this way, farms are like tankers, right? Mm-hmm. It takes a long time to stop them. It takes a long time to get them running, and it takes a long time for them to turn.
Yeah.
Farms, you can't just flip the switch and everybody's mining a new pool, new algo, new coin. No, there's a lot of work that needs to go into it. I've been talking with Not Your Normal Miner. I took a tour at his facility.
I saw that video. It was very cool. I'll put a link down below if people want to see that video.
Yeah, so farms are not going to be so quick to switch to Ravencoin because of all the points that the Hobbyist Miner mentioned. But I could see a lot of the smaller farms, I'm not saying it's going to get 25% of Ethereum's hash rate, but I could see Ravencoin getting, maybe 10 to 15% of the network hash rate from Ethereum on Ravencoin. And I think Bitsby Trip and Carter did a really good job of producing a sheet that if X hash rate went to this algo or this coin, this is what we were looking at as far as, profitability, hash rate, whatever it may be. But it's really hard to speculate on that. But I like Ergo. Ravencoin's always been one of my faves, but I'm at home, so I can easily switch my miners, no problem. Farms, not so much. And it does make the house hot. Mm-hmm. So it's perfect for winter here in Florida, but it's not good for summer. And then, other ETH hash options, Kryptonite GPU options. There's so many good coins out there. The bad thing is there's now over 14,000 plus S coins. It's really hard for people to find that diamond in the rough. And I see you got a diamond in your logo. It's really hard to find that diamond in the rough that's like, hey, if I get this coin right now, it's going to make me a millionaire. And that's what people are looking for. I don't mind, because you're hoping to be a millionaire by tomorrow. This is something that you're going to invest in over time. And Ergo looks like a very promising project. 100%. Ethereum Classic, you can't count it off. It had 51% attacks last year or the year before, and it's still going strong.
Yeah, I agree. So, changing gears a little bit here. You've been in mining for about 10 years now. Do you consider mining a hobby, a part-time job, an addiction, or a passion? Or is it the last checkbox, all of the above? Where do you fall now that you're 10 years in, kind of where does it fall for you?
All of the above, but I can say that it started out as a hobby when I first started. It's definitely not a job because I enjoy doing it, and I have a full-time job. I'm a father, I'm a full-time worker, I'm a full-time husband. So it's just something that I do on the side. So a hobby, definitely an addiction.
Isn't it crazy? Ugh.
It is. I mean, look, man, like I'm still hanging on to this stuff. Why?
Yeah,
I'm not a hoarder. I keep it organized, right? I got my little set, my shelves and stuff like that. I do want to eventually put this into something, like, put it in a box somewhere.
That'd be cool, like a case, that you could show, like a display case.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty neat.
It's definitely an addiction. It's a passion of mine that started out as a hobby that's now grown into a full-blown addiction. I did have to turn down the knob because I maxed out the NVIDIA rig with the space that I have due to the heat I have.
Yep.
But it's not so much electrical capacity. It's just it's my house. I'm in Florida. I don't have it in a grow tent.
Yeah.
And it's making my wife miserable. So.
Yep.
But she still loves me. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a trick question, especially for individuals like you and I, where all the above applies. No, awesome. So talking a little bit about our mining strategy, you talked a little bit about it earlier. And I've chatted with a lot of different people, some of the people I've had on the channel and guests for the Meet the Miner series. I've had some hodlers where, like, I haven't cashed out anything. I've had some people that, I think it was Seb did like a 60-40 or something like that, or maybe it was Red Fox Crypto, but they each had kind of a separate way that they did things per month of how much they cashed out, how much they kept. Where do you see yourself, and has it changed over the years? Hodler, hybrid, seller, kind of where do you stand today, and what have you done over the years?
Well, I mean, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, the whole point of cryptocurrency was to be utilized, but right now it's turned into some, a hedge against inflation or this or that. Me personally, my strategy is I take profits every now and then. I only sell percentages. So let's say 25% I cash out to, pay for bills, electricity, upgrades, right? So the video camera that I'm using was used with the cryptocurrency that I'm buying, the new mic. I wanted to upgrade the quality of my content for my viewers. And, that takes investment. So I would take, 25%, cash that out, spend that on whatever miscellaneous. A big portion of it is hodling, because back in the day, it wasn't about hodling. It was about converting LTC to Bitcoin into fiat so that way I can buy things, or using Bitcoin to buy things abroad. Now it's more of, well, I need to hodl it. I messed up, right? The big fish got away.
Yep.
I'm hodling now.
Now you're scared. No, that's definitely smart. It's really funny. So I started in February, and I hodled entirely up to last month. Last month was the first month I cashed out 50% of what I hodled during that time. That's a small time period. Looking at long term, that's a small time period. But I started to do that, and I took the advice of some other content creators within the space that are cashing out and reinvesting into GPUs, looking at that as a second form of investment. And I was like, okay, I love that. Like, I don't feel like I'm cashing out and then spending it all. It's more cashing out and reinvesting some of it. And I was like, I like that idea. I think that's a really good idea. So I always like to hear everybody's in different situations. Like I talked to Seb, and he cashes out because, like, he is unemployed currently, as a special effects designer within the movie industry. He's unemployed. So, he needs that, as you had said, to pay bills and things like that. And then Red Fox Crypto, he cashes out to reinvest into GPUs heavily. And that's why the man's always turning over a new rig, it seems like. So, no, it's great. It's great to hear different people's strategy. One is not better than the other. And I think everybody has those stories of, like, oh, I wish I would have, like, oh, I wish I would have never cashed it up. But you only know what you know now. Like, you look at it, you only know what you know in that moment. So I can understand. Go ahead.
I messed up a while ago. I mean, beating myself over it isn't going to do anything. So
exactly.
I still have the passion for crypto. I still have the passion for, blockchain and for the overall crypto project. So I'm just going to keep doing it. I will say that on my channel, I released a video not too long ago. It didn't get a lot of views, but I talked about it before is, not only am I cashing out, say 25% to buy my camera, whatever, I'm doing the same thing. So I would upgrade GPUs. But right now I'm at a point where I'm maxed out as far as heat and cooling capacity of my house. So I'm going to chill where I'm at. But say the NVIDIA 7000 series comes out in the future, I'm going to upgrade some of those GPUs. And the benefit is GPUs have resale value, right? So you can sell some of those GPUs to recoup some of that and get the new latest gen or whatever. I'm at the point right now where I have my overall setup and I'm just going to keep upgrading. I don't have a shed or a farm or a barn or anything, but I got what I got. I'm happy with it. I'm just going to keep upgrading. But I use a trading bot called 3 Commas to make microtransaction trades on Coinbase, Binance. It really depends on which country you live in and what's supported. But I use the algo bots to make macro trades so that way I can stack some more sats. So I might be trading Bitcoin into some of the other coins, but the overall goal is to get more Bitcoin. Or I might do that with USD, but the overall goal is to get more USD. I did a video on it. If anybody's interested on it, check out my channel. Also, I'll put it down below too. We'll definitely pile that in there because I think a lot of these videos you've referenced would be great for my audience or new audiences. I think it's a great idea. There's all kinds of stuff you can do though. There's staking on different exchanges. There's yield farming, but I would challenge you to do your own research and check out various projects and great content artists out there that provide that information to you. Awesome. So I got 2 more questions as we are at an hour already, which is crazy how fast this goes. Sorry. No, don't apologize. I love it. So last 2 questions. You commented, and maybe I know what this one is, but we'll see. What is one mining project that you wish got more attention, traction, or success today that currently exists? Ravencoin. But growing up into the crypto scene, there was this coin called HTH coin, helping the homeless coin. It had a great idea. It was an X16R variant coin. It was same thing as Ravencoin with the OG Ravencoin algorithm. The original classic, yeah. And honestly, I think it's back, but I have hundreds of thousands of this coin and it's gone. But yeah, as far as wish that had more attention, traction, and success, Ravencoin. I think Ravencoin to me is undervalued, but there's a lot of things that the core dev team needs to come up with because right now the new hotness is DEXs and NFTs. And, I'm noticing that. Ravencoin, even though they have assets and stuff like that, you can kind of create NFTs that hasn't really been utilized, so to speak. It's not getting the hype that everybody else is, but that would be one mining project that I wish had a little bit more attention or traction. It does have success. It doesn't have as much traction or attention behind it. No, I could be wrong though. No, you're absolutely right. I think that's a really good point. Ravencoin became very attractive to me very early on because of having, I was focusing on 4G cards. That's how I got into the space. So Ravencoin was a natural one there. And outside of the current algorithm with the heat that it gives off, that adds a challenge for miners and turns off a lot of miners. Talking about projects, I follow a lot of their developers on Twitter, and they're into some really, they're involved with some really cool projects, and I constantly see them hey, it's being used here. But if you were to look at something like, you had a great point, look at the projects that Ravencoin's involved with, and then let's look at Solana and the projects it's involved in. They're on totally different spectrums, and no, they don't have to be on the same, but if you're looking at what's trending and what's taking off with cryptocurrency, everything Solana is doing, NFTs, all that types of stuff is all getting involved in video games and everything like that it is blowing up there. Versus on the flip side, it's Ravencoin's kind of taking a backseat to the projects they're involved with. Yes, are important, but they're not, let's call it more new age. They're more traditional projects. And so I could agree with you. I feel like if Ravencoin all of a sudden pivoted, they could really take off because they have a lot of the structure that a lot of these other coins don't. Granted, something with Solana that's not mineable directly, you can go ahead and transfer it and such. But that's a really good point. I'm all about Ravencoin. I mean, I've been mining Ravencoin since I started in February. I think it's a phenomenal coin to get behind. I like Tron Black
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. I was kind of jelly of him and Bits going on that cruise, but that's a
I
different
saw
video for a
that.
different
I
day.
saw that. So, all right. So, last question, which I always love leaving off on this question, because there's no right or wrong answer to this, and it's definitely a loaded question. Is why does SerpentX crypto mine? Why do you mine? You know, Sally comes up to you on the street, somebody you haven't seen in 10 years, and said, you know, why do you crypto mine? Why?
The involvement, honestly, realistically, the community. I love being a part of the community. I love engaging with other individuals about various projects or just a simple hardware talk. Just, that sets my day, man. When you start asking me, hey, what's your core clock? Hey, what's your mem clock? What are you doing with this? Because it really depends on the silicon lottery. You and I can be like, yeah, my 1660 Super and Ti are hashing at this much watts with this core, this whatever. That doesn't tell the full story. Depending on the silicon lottery, manufacturing tolerances, quality, stuff like that, you're going to have to tune your own GPU. So me sitting there tuning each GPU, whether, because when we switch to Raven coin, like you said, it's more core intensive, and the same clocks that work on Ethereum won't work on Raven. So you're going to have to tune your GPU, set up profiles, however you want. Doing that in that process, I love it because I'm an overclocker. I may have not, gotten into exotic cooling per se. I don't have LN2 pots and stuff like that, but I love that content. I love it when BuildZoid, Gamers Nexus, and a lot of my, favorite overclockers use that. And I apply that same kind of love into mining and getting the best hash rate for the best efficiency. So tweaking, tuning is one aspect. The community is a major aspect of it. I see you put out a video and it's about the 6600 non-XTs, its mining hash rate, what you're seeing, what you're getting and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, how can I apply that to my GPU? What's the best thing? I'm getting 2 mega hash less and seeing that. And then we can converse. I see you tweet out something and I might tag you on a tweet or retweet. And it's very hard to keep up as the community grows and we get so many followers. But I see us doing our best. I see you engaging with your community. I see me engaging with the community. And we're doing our best to try to help out newcomers, OGs, and people that have supported us through it all. And that support structure, that community is really a driving force in why I mine. I think it's cool. I love hardware. I'm a real big hardware nerd, as you've seen. But it really comes down to tweaking, tuning. I'm also a car guy, so think about that. I love, bolt-on, cold air intake, exhaust, get my cousin to build a turbo, fab up an intercooler kit and everything.
Sure.
And, just getting that extra horsepower out of it. It's the same thing for
mining,
GPUs and mining in general.
Very cool. That's awesome. So at the end of the day, his answer is he loves community and he loves to tinker. That's pretty much his answer there.
I always got a long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm the same way. I look at some of my videos I put out. I'm like, God, I wanted that to be 5 minutes. And now 20 minutes later, it's like, why? So no, I totally understand. So, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up there. I'd love for people that are watching this to go ahead and learn more from you and check out some of these videos. So give us the rundown. Where can people learn more about you and consume more of your content?
So SerpentX Tech is the name of the channel. We got SerpentX Tech on Instagram, social media. It's SerpentXSF still. But I'll provide all the links to Hobbyist so he can post it down in the description.
Perfect.
I do have a website, but it's beta, and it's like basically a blog type website. I'll have that at SerpentXSF.com. And SerpentX Tech on everything pretty much except for Twitter is SerpentXSF. Twitter won't let me change the name and stuff like that, but it's okay. I just enjoy organic growth and you guys, showing some love. Make sure you smash the like button for my buddy here, please. Man, I don't even have to say it. I don't even have to end the video that way. But yes, as he said, guys, I'll have links all down below for everything that was talked about today, for all of his content. I definitely want to promote it and put it out there. I am in the process of lining up our next guest for the near future to keep these going. I got a bunch of people that reach out to me like, when's the next one? When's the next one? So more of them are coming. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me today for another episode of Meet the Miner. Take care.